Hey, my YouTube friends, welcome back to the desk. And as you can see, we're in a magnified portion of the desk. Today, we're going to look at an Arduino clone-ish kind of thing called the Xadow Duino. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's spelled Xadow, and I'm pronouncing it Xadow. I'm hoping that I got that right. It comes from Seed Studios. As you can see, Seed Studio is a Chinese company. And I hope I'm doing the name justice. In any case, you can see that the thing is about an inch square. So if I were to try to do this on the regular camera, you would just see a little dot. I'm trying to hold the light here in a way that illuminates it correctly, because I can't, if I put the microscope light where it belongs, we get a lot of blown out parts of the picture. But just for the sake of argument, there is a human finger. All right, so this thing would just about cover my index finger top. It's meant to be wearable. Looks like it may be wearable. It comes with a LiPo battery connector, although this is the tiny LiPo battery. As if LiPo battery connectors weren't small enough. This is a super tiny LiPo battery connector. There's the USB micro, and then it connects to other devices through this ribbon cable-y type thing. Now, what other devices can it connect to? Here is a sensor board that I got with it. The sensor board has a UV sensor. It's got a three-dimensional accelerometer. It's got temperature and a couple of other things in it, and we'll try to mess around with that. As you can see, it's about the same size. Okay. And the last thing we'll do is we'll try to hook up this really nifty RGB LED module to it. I guess what they're suggesting is that you can wear these cool LEDs, and we'll give that a try. I'm not going to try to wear it at the moment. This actually is an Adafruit product, or comes from Adafruit, this WS2812B. And that actually has to be soldered into the Xadow Duino right there. It gets soldered on, and so we'll save that to last, because I don't want to solder right now. Okay. All right. First thing I've got to do, though, is I've got to figure out how to connect this little bitty strip to the Xadow Duino. That doesn't look like it clips in any direction. I wonder if I can just push it in there. There is unfortunately no instructions here now, and I'm looking under the microscope as you are. It almost looks like this is a clip, and that was a clip. I'm using a tiny pointy tweezer, so in theory, with the clip up, we can poke this guy in there. Oh yeah, it goes in very easily with the clip up. All right, and then I'm just going to use the tweezer to push that downward, and then on this side we'll do the same thing. This is like television surgery. Okay, push the clip up, slide that guy in. He's in. And clip down. All right, now these two guys are together. Okay, here we are back at mission control. And this is how big these things are, right? So there's my hand. And as you can see, it's kind of hard to see the little detail in there. But this is the Xadow Duino here. And here is the sensor board. So what we're going to do is the usual Arduino thing. So if we Google Xadow Duino, and as you can see, here's how it's spelled, Xadow Duino. It comes from Seed Studios. You get the Seed Wiki. And then we go ahead down here, and we're going to see there's a file. We download these file names, and I get those in my downloads. And then there's a file that you put into the Arduino application itself. Now, I'm on a Mac, so things go a little bit differently on a Mac. I have to go over here, and here's my applications window, and then I have to select it, and I have to say show package contents, and then I go to contents, and then I go to Java, and then I go to hardware, and I take the file that I downloaded and I put it over here where it's at Xadow. All right, that means when I fire up Arduino, I will get a, I'll get a, in the boards, I'll be able to go, nope, it didn't work. Hang on a second. Okay, I fired up the wrong version of Arduino. I have two versions here because on the prior videos I did on the Assembly and the Xadow, they don't work with the latest, with Arduino 165. So I've got two versions of Arduino here. So on 165, I can go over here. Oop, let's select the right board, and we're going to select Xadow. Okay, what I've done here is I've come back to, I'm still in the seed wiki, and I've gone to demonstration of the 3-axis accelerometer. Now, I don't know if this is going to work because I've got this guy, which is a board that has a 3-axis accelerometer on it. I have no idea if it's hooked up the same way, but they do have a demo program here. So what I've done is I've downloaded the demo program, and I've selected Duino Xadow, and now we're going to plug it in to the USB. Okay, here's my USB, and this thing is very delicate. I'm going to connect her up here, see what happens. Okay, I do have a little light. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to, I'll aim it down here. It's a little blinking light, so maybe they start off with the blinky program. Interesting. Okay. So there is a little blinking light on there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to upload in the usual way to this Xadow Duino. It says it did it. Okay, so it says that in fact I have, according to this, right down here, AVR done. So it says it's uploaded. Now in theory, I guess I should be able to start the serial monitor. Oh yeah, look at that. All right, so the serial monitor is telling me 0 G's. So what if I start moving this thing around? I'm still getting nothing. Okay, we're back under the microscope here. And if you're wondering why, it's for reasons of failure and my egotistical failure. You know, the problem is sometimes, you know, I think I know more about a product than the people who actually made the product. And that is always a bad idea. Always, always, always very bad. So here we have the Xadow basic sensors. And here we have the Xadow Duino. All right. And I had figured all along that what I would do is I would just hook these two things up with these little nice 11-pin cables that they provided, and I should be able to talk to this guy from here. The answer is no. Apparently you can't, and you're not supposed to. You're supposed to use the basic sensor kit from the Rephone. Now, I've got Rephone here, and we're going to mess with that in a later video, and that's a, like, you know, play with it yourself cellular phone kind of thing. In order to use this as just regular old Arduino, you can't. You'll notice there's an ST chip here. This is a microcontroller, and there's some code in there, and it's controlling, you know, here the light sensor, and there's, I guess this guy must be the 3D module, and there's a temperature sensor on here, and a 3D accelerometer rather. And in order to get the data out of that, you got to talk to this microcontroller in a language that it understands. So I don't know if it's I2C or SPI and what commands. They don't tell you any of that. What they tell you is if you've got a Rephone kit, you plug this into the Rephone, and the Rephone gets the data out of there. Okay, well, this Xadow Duino, even though it's called Duino, and even though that's a mega 32U4, and we can program this via the Arduino IDE. Even though we can do all those things, it doesn't have the smarts. There isn't a library or example somewhere I can use to yank the data off of here through one of these cables. I do have the schematic for it, and when you look at the schematic, it's infinitely obvious. The only thing this does is talk to this, right? You go through the cable, the only thing it does is talk to this. This guy talks to these other guys, so you've got to negotiate with him to talk to those. And there's no way to do that with the software that goes in the Arduino. They do have a special Arduino IDE that you use for the Rephone. Because it's not actually an Arduino, and in fact they suggest that you use Eclipse or one of the other IDEs to program the Rephone. So we'll give that a try on a later date. Meanwhile, this guy is going back into the bag along with these little things. Bink and bink. So he's all packed up, and we'll play with him when the Rephone comes along. Now, the instructions for the Rephone say that the purpose of the Xadow Duino is, in fact, to make blinky lights. And that's it. It doesn't say you're supposed to do anything else with it. Although it does appear that you can program it like a regular old Arduino, and I could probably attach sensors or something, but I can't use the ones that they provide. So what we got to do is use these wires here to hook this strip of lights, which again is an Adafruit WS2812B. All right, connect that to there. In fact, unfortunately, it's got to be connected upside down like this, so the ground and D0 and V plus match up. And then we'll be able to do blinky lights. That's the entire purpose of the Xadow Duino. Now again, if one of you viewers knows how to make this thing work with basic sensors, I'd love to know. I can't tell from reading the internet or any of the other fine online publications provided by these guys. I wish I did. And we're just going to try to solder that on there. Okay. So we'll say, they didn't provide black. I always like to have black for ground, but we're going to use white, and then because yellow doesn't mean anything, white you know sometimes means V plus too as well. So we're just going to solder him in there. And 2. And the third one here. I would have preferred to mess with the sensors than the blinky lights, because there's only a small strip of these blinky lights here. It's not like there's a million of them. There's 5, and I guess that'd be kind of fun for about 15 minutes. I'd prefer the sensors though, because I'd actually like to try to get on there. There we go. All right, now we've got to connect this to this, and let's remember that this is V. Oh, this is going to be interesting to try to do this with no hands. Need something to hold us down. All right, here I'm just going to put this wrench on it, and I should be able to do it, right? All right, I'll get the first one on, then the other one should go willingly. That's uno. And then as we remember, the yellow was the data guy. Data. All right, and ground, which, in English is never white, but that's what we got. I like to keep the colors standard, but it is what it is. I'll bend this in a way that it will stay there. gonna need another hand or something. Yeah, it's at times like this that you say, gee, wouldn't it be better if I had, you know, an extra arm or... I did just see a thing online about a... That one's a little messy, huh? Not exactly a nice joint. Alright, there we go. Okay, we've got the Xadow Duino plugged into the USB like any other Arduino, and then here are the nice blinky lights. Okay, there's 5 of them on the strip. It came with the kit. And now if we take a look up here, alright, we've got a sketch that came right off the Xadow Duino website. Let's make sure that we've got the right port, and let's see, we've got, it's not recognizing, I've got the Xadow, but I do not see the port. Let's, I've got another USB here somewhere. There we go. All right, let's connect him up. All right, there we go. Now we see the port. I don't know why it didn't work on the other one, but there we go. We see the port. We go over here. We say upload. Uploading. Da 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 da. It's writing. Okay. And now it's uploaded according to this. And what do we see? I don't know about you, but I ain't seeing anything blink. Alright, I got it to work, and I'm going to tell you why it didn't work before. Notice that this says D in, that's data in. Okay, so we have +5 data in and ground. I was previously connected over here to DO, which I now realize means D out, data out. Okay, so you want to be connected to the data in. There's probably, well, these are LEDs, they're diodes, so that, you know, I don't really actually know exactly. You know, I'm presuming that these are smart RGB LEDs, and they probably have a little control in them or whatever, and, you know, it wants to see the data flowing that way in any case. So when we plug in the USB, give it a second to decide what it wants to do here. I'll zoom way out. Okay, now we got some lights going. What if I can... There's blue, green, pinkish is turning colors right before our very eyes. So this is, in fact, what the... This is what the Xadow Duino is supposed to do. Now this thing has a little strip on it. You can peel off and stick this on something. And you can do more than just this. This is a very simple program in there. You can modify the program just like anything else. Any other Arduino things, pretty simple code. But that's what the Xadow Duino is all about. After all of that mess, it's all about just making these lights flash. I can't use the sensor module or any of that stuff. I got to wait till I get to the Rephone. So, if anything, hopefully this was instructive. If you're interested in one of these things, you at least know what it can do. Now, again, this guy is supposed to be connected to the Rephone Kit itself. So you can program this inevitably through the Rephone method. I'm using the regular old Arduino IDE, and let's see if I can turn the lights off in this room. We might be able to see that better. There we go. And you can see it's doing its little blinky thing. It's running through its little program there. Now it's blue, and now it's green, and now it's fading to magenta, and you know, so you can do all that cool stuff. All right, well, thanks very much for your time. Hopefully my failure is your benefit, and thanks for, as always, for patronizing the channel. I know this is a little video. I don't know if it's worth a thumbs up or a thumbs down, but I wouldn't mind a thumbs up or a thumbs down on any of my other videos just to know you're there. Thanks very much. See y'all later.